Grenada, Carriacou, PT Martinique, and wherever else around the world that you're listening to us, whatever time of day it is, be it morning, midday, or even in the evening. You are listening to Hard Talk again for another day. Today it's Wednesday. It's a lovely day today. We had some overnight showers, but the morning I started really, really well. Good sunlight. Not too hot as yet, but I think it will make for a very good day. We are coming to you live today on several radio stations. We are on City Song 97.5, the Release FM, broadcasting out there from St. Patrick's 91.9 and 91.5. We are also on CRFM 89.5, Sisters Radio, who is broadcasting out of Hillsborough, Carriacou. And for those of us in the diaspora, we are also live on We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn. For those of you who are not taking in the program by radio, you have an opportunity to do so by the various platforms that exist. We are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and some of the others. So you can join us, join the conversation. You can be a part of it by calling with a question, with a comment. Whatever it is you think you want to contribute, we always do ask, though, that if you are going to call this program for whatever reason or purpose, please be discreet, be respectful. Do not speak about people and say things that you cannot substantiate. We want to be very factual. We aim to give facts on this program. This is not a propaganda program. Today, as it is the norm, every other Wednesday, so twice monthly, the women of the New National Party do get the opportunity to speak with the nation. Today is what we call, they have a program that they call NNP Women in Action. And with us today is a very well-known individual, someone whom we are accustomed to, someone who has done quite a lot, not just for her parish or her community, but for Grenada as a whole. She has been a star from a very, very long time ago. I mean, just her name suggested that her parents must have loved that fruit. What we call mango, king fruit. King fruit, yes, I think some people refer to the mango as king fruit. I'm speaking of no other than Dr. Julie Dubois, who is here with us today. To speak on the topic dental health. We are doing Dental Health Week, and they have a team. It's applying good oral habits in the fight against COVID-19. And I think it's a team that is well placed in this time when we and the entire world actually is struggling with COVID-19. We are in a better place than some other countries, but we have to continue to look out for each other. We have to continue to think about our other brothers and sisters, whether in the region, the sub-region, or internationally, and continue internally as a country to continue to build on the gains that we have already made. So, my friends, I want you to join us. Like I say, you can send us a message on WhatsApp or on any of the other platforms, and call your friend, your neighbor, let them know we are on. We have been off for a couple of days for varying reasons, and if you are not hearing and you have not heard Miss Duncan doing the intro this morning, as we've said last week, she's out of state at the moment, dealing with some other issues, and she may join us like she did sometime last week via the telephone. If she can, we will appreciate that. If she cannot, I think we will have, anyway, with her absence and in her absence, a very exciting program that I look forward to, and I beg of you to listen. And listen attentively, because in my mind, the topic today is an extremely important one, because from what I know is that while we look at a lot of other health issues, dental health is one that we sometimes kind of push it in the background. We don't always give it the kind of attention that it should be getting. And so Dr. Dubois today is going to give us a lot of tidbits, and she's going to explain a lot to us. So, good morning to you, Dr. Dubois. I've said a lot. I'm more than a mouthful before I ask you now to talk to the public, to say good morning and to let them know you're here.
Good morning, Brother Bowler. Good morning to our listeners, wherever you are around the world. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me today. Brother Bowler, thank you for this Amazing welcome. I almost looked over my shoulder to see if it was me you were talking about.
Of course.
But you know, it's a pleasure for me to be here, and I always welcome the opportunity afforded me to share whatever knowledge that I have with the public that they can use to improve not just the oral health, but the general health.
Great.
And as you said, this week we are observing Dental Health Week. Normally, it's a very hyped up week where we have health fairs and we have marches, street marches with the children in school and so on. But because of the pandemic, we have to scale back a lot. And the Ministry of Health, which supports us a lot in this venture, has been very overwhelmed with the responsibility of, testing and so on with the COVID. And now that our borders are opening, I know they're very busy. Nonetheless, we have decided, the Dental Association in particular, we've decided that we will, in our private practices, in our churches, wherever we can go, and wherever the opportunity affords us to share how dental health is important in the fight against COVID-19. And thus our theme for this year is applying good oral habits in the fight against COVID-19. Now, many studies have been done in Britain, in Brazil, in Japan, the US, where they're trying to show the connect between COVID-19 and good oral health, how good oral health can boost the fight against COVID-19. We all know that the mouth is the gateway to health, good health. I mean, yes, we exercise and yes, we get our vitamin D through the sunlight and so on. But mainly through the oral cavity, the mouth, is where our health depends. And so if we eat right, we're guaranteed a fairly healthy body. If we exercise and if we have good rest patterns, sleep patterns, then we're healthy. However, if we don't take care of our mouths, then oral disease affects many organs in our body. It affects our general health. And if we don't have a healthy body, then obviously we don't have a healthy immune system. And if we don't have a healthy immune system, then our bodies are weakened. And the fight against COVID-19, should we, God forbid, should we contract the disease, our bodies will have a harder time fighting it than if for somebody who did not have, who has a healthier body and whose mouth is healthier. And so, well, we all know that, the World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 a global emergency. And then on March 11 of 2020, this year, it was declared a pandemic. The whole world has been affected. And so this kind of propelled many researchers to dig deeper into how the mouth affects COVID-19, the oral health. We already know that poor oral health, gum disease especially, it affects the people who have hypertension more. It can, the people who are obese, and gum disease can also lead to heart disease, in about some 20-25% of people. Now, what really happens is that, first of all, let me say, we don't have to get to that stage where we have gum disease. I think taking care of the mouth is the simplest thing ever. But like I always say, I think people don't pay attention to that, because if you lose a tooth, it doesn't kill you, And so toothbrush, toothpaste, floss. Toothbrush, baking soda, floss. And now I use baking soda for the people who maybe can't afford the toothpaste. But the baking soda is equally good. It's good on your gums, just a little bit, a smear on the toothbrush. And there's a little abrasiveness in it too that helps to clean off the plaque on the teeth. Plaque. What happens? How is it formed? Food staying on the teeth, food particles staying on the teeth when you didn't brush your teeth properly, and so on. It's a sticky substance. We all know that. You rub your fingernail against your teeth, and you see that white sticky film coming off on your fingernail. When we were young, they used to say you have cheese on your teeth. So that is plaque. Now, if we neglect cleaning the teeth over time, the salts in the saliva and so on hardens that plaque, and it becomes calculus or tartar, right? Now, all this doesn't have to be if we use the toothbrush as we're supposed to, brushing our teeth and brushing our gums at least twice a day for 2 minutes. Why do we say 2 minutes? It's because you can't do this thing rushed. The teeth may look clean to you if you do it in like 30 seconds. It may look clean to you. It may even feel clean to you. But this microscopic little particles don't come off that easy. You must spend time brushing the teeth, especially the chewing surfaces. That's the surfaces you use to grind, and the molars at the back, because there are some tiny grooves on these teeth, and the food particles that we can't even see properly with the eye can stick between these grooves. And if you don't spend the 2 minutes brushing those teeth, after a while you see brown spots appearing on those teeth. Then you start seeing little holes appearing, and it's all because we don't give the toothbrushing enough time. So time is important. And what is 2 minutes? You have 60 minutes in an hour. You have 24 hours in a day. What is 2 minutes to brush your teeth? Nothing. So it's just a matter of discipline and patience. And so when we don't do that, what happens is that the plaque builds up. Now, the plaque also encourages bacteria. And this bacteria is now harmful bacteria to your body. Now, mind you, there is helpful bacteria in the mouth. But when we neglect to floss, and our gums become swollen and puffy, and then when we start to floss, we see blood, and we say, oh my goodness, the floss is hurting my gums, so I cannot floss anymore. So we stop flossing, and then we brush the gums and we see blood. We say, oh, I can't brush anyway. So we kind of skim just the top of the teeth, which is wrong. Because once you see bleeding, it means that you should pay more attention to cleaning those areas. And the more you floss and brush where you see the bleeding or the whole mouth, the bleeding goes away in a few days. And a lot of people don't know that, so they get scared and they get confused and concerned. And therefore, the proper hygiene of the mouth is neglected. The proper habits applied, they are neglected. And so, like I'm going back to say now, just that you're following me. Brother Bola, you following me? You think everybody's following me?
I just wanted to just have you hold your point a little bit, because you're giving a lot of information. But we just want to break it down. You have been in dental care for how many years now, Sister Julie? I know. All I know you as 30 plus,
5
right.
years.
Okay. I don't want you to suggest to anyone what your age is, like just 30 plus years.
35 years
Right.
this
30
year.
plus years.
July was 35
right.
years. Yeah.
And I imagine in those years you have had an opportunity which gives you a wealth of experience to have dealt with people from different walks of life. Yes? I just want you to kind of, if you can, explain or draw that to us. Now, you would hear parents talk about from the time they have babies, they must take the child to clinic for what they call that one now, postnatal. Yes, I think I have it right. You have prenatal, that is before the child
Before
is
the baby,
born,
yeah.
and postnatal is after the birth of the child.
Yes, yes.
To the clinic for the postnatal checkup, for this, for that. The child has a little cough, they run to the doctor, the thing. But you seldom hear parents, and I'm talking now from since you have toddlers, talking, well, you know, I need to see the dentist to check the gum, to see the first teeth, and we know we learned in school about milk teeth and permanent teeth. So, you know, some will drop out after a while before you get the permanent ones and so. But from all that you said, it is so important for us to pay attention to our mouth, its health, its, you know, its hygiene and everything else. Why do you think more of us don't pay greater attention and don't encourage our children from a very early age to pay that kind of attention to the mouth, the gum, the teeth in general?
Well, I gave one
Yes, you did
one
say that.
example a while ago,
Yes,
meaning that
bleeding.
a child loses a tooth, the child doesn't fall down and die,
Yes.
or the child doesn't end up in the hospital.
Right. I make it.
So, but it is a cultural thing that we have to change.
Okay.
And I must give kudos to the dental department in the Ministry of Health that over the years we've been fighting. We've come a long way, but we still have ways to go. Where we've implemented programs in the schools, we're trying to change the mindset of people. Because if the parents don't do it, then they don't pass it on to the children.
Right.
So we had a program which it's on a little lull now with all this issue with the pandemic. But we had a program where we were introducing toothbrushing in schools, where the teachers, and I must congratulate some of the teachers who really took personal interest in their children. There are many, many teachers who, you know, they take this thing. I can think of a few that you know, when they didn't see us, when they didn't hear from us, they were concerned. So what we tried to do was to introduce the toothbrushing in schools so that the children can understand the importance of taking care of their teeth and the importance of toothbrushing. So if they understand that, and we do it in school and they do it at home, they start taking the message back to the home. You know, educating, quote unquote, the parents. And as they grow, they will have that in them. And then they'll pass it on to their children. And the children in turn will pass it on to their children. And so we try to have that approach so that we could change the whole mindset of how people take care of their teeth. It's so simple, but yet it's such a huge task for us to get it into the heads of people, you know?
Well, I must, with what you've just said there, I too must commend not just the Dental Association, but the Ministry of Health and of course the Ministry of Education for having that. And maybe we need to see much more collaboration from other stakeholders, the churches, probably NGOs, where because sometimes you have these health fears, and so a group in a community decide, well, let's get some doctors. I know sometimes the SU is involved, but you seldom hear about the dental side of things. So we probably need to take more cognizance of that and add that. That can be an addition to what is already done. So the word will be out there much more, and people will get a better understanding and will learn to take a better care. But let me just also, because we don't want our listeners to forget that today's program is coming to you due to the NNP Women in Action, because you have the NNP women who felt it was necessary to have a day for themselves as a program, and they've brought different persons. And today, Sister Julie, being Dental Health Week, they have brought you. I want to ask you, though, Sister Julie, in your opinion, I think the dental, you are the president, I think, or I don't know if you still are, of the Dental Workers Association.
Dental Association.
Just Dental Association. So I'm adding a bit to it that is not there. It's not Dental Workers, the Dental Association. Now, how does this association operate? Do you get a subvention or so from government, or it's just a group of dentists that come together, discuss ideas, and try in some ways to see if they can influence the ministry and the government to get certain things done? Just give us a little tidbit into it, because sometimes people think, well, dentists are just there when I have a toothache, or I want to fill in a teeth, or I want to do something in my mouth, I go and give them money and that's it. But I think you people do far more than that the public is not aware of.
The latter is true, that we just come together and do what we have to do.
Okay.
The government has no, we don't ask for anything, and they don't contribute anything to us. We are a separate body.
Yeah.
I must tell you, however, though, that we were dormant for a little while. We've just come back up, and we're going to, you're going to hear more about us, because the energy is there, and we're putting structures in place so that we can do more. So God's willing, come March, when there is World Oral Health Day, you're going to hear much, much more about the Dental Association. But that being said, we are also trying to, like, for example, Dental Health Week, we know we have a pandemic, and we know that we're just coming back together. But all the dentists, they've pledged, and I know they are doing it. They're informing their patients. And in the government clinics, the dentists are speaking to anybody who is there when they are working in those clinics about the importance of oral health and fighting the COVID-19 virus. So you're going to hear more from the Dental Association. We're going to also bring back, we used to have something in the past called Give the Kids a Smile, where we got all the you have some children, they're even afraid to smile. They smile putting their hands to their mouths. And we would go and get the worst cases, and all the dentists will put aside one day, and we all did it simultaneously. We got transportation for the children, and we will bring them to our private offices, and we will plan it so that we would know how many kids we would do for the day, and we will do those children free of cost, and so on. So we're planning to do that. We're going to be doing that.
To bring that back. Excellent.
Yes.
That is your way of giving back, but also it's a way of encouraging people, letting them know dental health is important. And may I just ask that for and maybe at the risk of sounding a little bit foolish, Sister Julie, but does dental health and dental care, do they refer to the same thing, or are they separate and different? Because you hear sometimes dental health, you hear dental care. And I'm not sure in my mind. Maybe they are the same, and maybe there are other people out there who probably thinking like myself. Is it one and the same, or is it two separate things?
They're connected.
They're connected.
They're connected. Yeah. Because dental care is how you take care of your mouth. The dental health is the status of the mouth. So the dental care would lead to dental health. To dental health.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So dental care means we must all be taking the proper care And as a result, we will have better dental health. So they are
Correct.
connected, very much so. Thank you for educating us.
Brother,
there
Brother
on the-
Bola, but
yes.
I wanted to, and it's a good thing you drew that point. I want to make something clear to everybody out there.
Mm-hmm.
Our theme this year is applying good oral habits in the fight against COVID-19.
Yes.
We did not put dental health. We did
Right.
not put dental care. Because you see, we want people to know that they have to develop they have to develop the habits of taking, get into the habit of taking care of the teeth. A lot of people don't have it. It's not just carrying your mouth and you think you're taking care of it, but it has to be a habit. Not that you have a toothache, so you run and then the dentist speaks to you and then you go home and forget what they say. No. We want you to develop the habit, and back to the children. Now, the government. The government cannot provide everything as pertains to taking care of the teeth for the public. Dentistry is super expensive, And yesterday a dentist was speaking to me and she was saying, well, I don't know how we're doing it here, because even when the prices of the dental products go up, some of us, we don't even raise our prices.
You observe that quietly?
Yes. So I'm saying this to say that an oral exam is basic. You go and you ask the dentist what's wrong with your mouth. We look, we tell you the general things. Now, we don't do x-rays in government clinic yet. It's coming soon. The equipment is already here. But I'm just saying that the basic thing, just an exam, the dentist can pick up 80 to 90% of the stuff going on in your mouth without doing an x-ray, right? Mm-hmm. The x-ray will confirm what's going on underneath and between, right? Yeah. So I'm just saying, at least it's a start. You go, you get your mouth checked out. The dentist will say, look, you have cavities, or you need a cleaning, or, you need XYZ and give you guidelines to follow. And that is a start. But people don't go. They don't take their children. And I mean, this is not, I'm not speaking for the 100%, but we have a lot who don't go. Yeah. And one of the things we have discovered is that the children would say, Mommy, my tooth hurting. Mommy, I didn't sleep good last night. I had a toothache. And the mother might just give them a Panadol and send them to school. A tooth never gets better. Brother Bola, you ever saw a tooth with a hole and then the hole closer?
No, you can't.
Exactly. But if you get a cut, yes. It heals. Your foot breaks, it heals. Yes. But not the teeth.
Yeah.
So this is why we have to take the teeth very seriously. Every day that goes by with a problem, the problem gets worse. No. If you would permit me, I just want to go back a little to where I started.
Yes.
And just finish drawing the line between the mouth and COVID. Right? No, I was at the point where we were talking about how the plaque and so forms and the calculus and so on, and it affects our general health. How does it do that? When we have gum disease, we have all this bacteria forming in our mouth, bad bacteria, if I may use the word bad, the harmful bacteria, excuse me, the harmful bacteria forms. And then when it forms there, when we eat and drink and so on, this bacteria goes down through our stomachs and in our systems. That is when it contributes to heart disease. That is when it contributes to cerebrovascular disease, which is a big word for just saying affecting the little blood vessels in your brain, because this bacteria is going throughout your whole body. And it's harmful. So it attaches to blood vessels and causes problems. Right? It causes problems. And then, now when you have that, the asthmatic is a respiratory disease. When you have asthma, right? It's a coughing thing, right? Now, when you cough, you aspire. This bacteria can go into your lungs. Remember, COVID affects the lungs badly, right? So when you have all this bad bacteria, this harmful bacteria going into your lungs with your coughing and you're inhaling and stuff like that, what happens? Should you should you get COVID, what happens? Can your body fight it? So this is why we encourage, because when you have all the secretions that could cause infections in your mouth, and which is formed by the gum disease, then the bacteria forms all these, they multiply, and they change, right? And as they do that, what happens is that, excuse me, it can reach the lungs, right? And so with the exchange of that bacteria between the lungs and the mouth, we're increasing respiratory infections and bacterial complications, and therefore our immune system is weakened. So you see how simple it is when it starts, how easy it is to control, but when we don't do it, the consequences are enormous.
Enormous. Now, having said that, Sister Julie, I've heard before that, take good care, prevent to decay, but most importantly, prevent extraction. Because extraction, outside of the fact that as we grow older and we extract more of our teeth, it changes our looks and our shape and the dynamics of the face and so. But for men in particular, and maybe you can give us a little explanation on that. For men in particular, the loss of some of, they call the molars, what we call commonly the jaw teeth.
Yes.
That it could have a negative effect on us as men as it relates to our, which is something the guys are very concerned about, our sex drive and could aid to in erectile dysfunction and all those kind of things. I mean, how much truth is there in that, and how widespread can that be? I mean, I know the guys out there would be opening up their ears. I'm not a dentist, so I can't give you the explanation. Sister Julie probably can.
Well, actually, tooth loss is one thing, but you see that thing called gum disease, periodontal disease, periodontitis is the disease of the gums. When the gums become inflamed because you don't brush them well, the food stays around the teeth, affects the gums start getting puffy and red, and then if that continues and it gets harder and it builds up more, it gets to the bone, and then the bone now starts melting away. I'm just using layman terms, bone will melt away, dissolve. And then as that gets worse, the tooth gets shaky, more bacteria in the mouth, you have abscesses, you have pus, you have all these things. No, what the studies have found is that periodontal disease, which is gum disease, as it advances, as it progresses, what it can do is to affect men's erectile function. That is what they have found out.
Yes.
It affects women, it affects men, but for the men, that is what it affects in them.
Yeah.
The studies have been finding that out, right? And for the people who are predisposed to, like, say, you have things running in your family like diabetes, hypertension, and so on, you're more likely to succumb to that if you have gum disease. You see? So the men out there who are listening, remember that gum disease, poor oral health can also affect your erectile functions.
So there's a direct correlation. So men, especially the younger ones, please recognize that it is necessary. I mean, you want to keep your manhood? Keep good teeth in your mouth. Keep good oral health. it is not only a pleasant thing that when someone has good breath and so, it's more pleasant to be in the present, but as the dentist just explained, it can have even more serious negative effect if you don't do that. So we have to take this thing serious. Sister Julie, I want to ask though, do you think from where you sit and from your years of experience dealing with people and the problems with the gum, with the teeth and so, do you think the time has come, or probably even past, that we should, and I'm talking now government, maybe community groups can take a step forward in that, but probably we should go on a wider campaign, one for sharing of information so that people become much more knowledgeable, much more educated about the need to take care, the need for proper oral health, and the consequences that can happen as a result. But also, government looking at this thing as a project. Because I recall earlier on you said maybe it is something about our lifestyle we have not been taught, and so we don't take a lot of interest, we don't see the need, but maybe the time has come or the time has passed, and that probably government sees it as a project. Not that you shouldn't do it all the time, but now you go on a big launch where you get all the dentists involved. You probably can train a few other people who are not really dentists but have the information and can be able to pass on the information in schools, in churches, in groups, community organizations, and so. What's your thought on that?
I will be very excited if we can come up with an aggressive campaign against oral disease. I would be so excited because, and I think if we plan it well, it's going to make a huge impact on our population. Our population is not that big, but when you calculate the percentages, it's oral health, dental disease is still a major problem. I remember when, excuse me, I remember when the New York University School of Dentistry came in with that oral health program. The Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health was involved. And even to some extent, the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council. And we had this massive campaign. And when the reports were done, and we had the percentage coming in after a year or so, the caries reduction, that's tooth decay reduction, was so minimal. Brother Bola, I want to tell you something. If we as a government invest in prevention, just one aspect of it, prevention. Prevention by means of putting fluoride on the teeth and sealing off the first permanent molars in children. Sealing off meaning putting the sealants on. A lot of people understand, some don't. I'll just quickly tell you how sealants are done. The molars, the child's first molar, permanent molar, I should say, comes up at age 6. Some 5.5, but the average age of 6. You see a new tooth coming up in a child's mouth. It's the first permanent molar. By the time the child is 6.5, 7, they would have all 4, which is the last tooth in the mouth, top and bottom, right and left, right? If we catch those teeth when they just come up, and we put the sealant on. Now, the sealant, remember the grooves I spoke about on the chewing surfaces. We roughen it with an acid. Then we flow in that liquid, it's called the sealant, in those grooves, right? And then we harden it with an ultraviolet light. And the material is as hard as a filling material. So it lasts for years and years. And I can testify of that because I've done children in school when they were in school. And now these children have grown and they are married and they still have the sealants on, right? So once you put that on, you guarantee with proper brushing, that child does not have cavities in those teeth.
Okay.
And if we invest in that, I think we are going to see a lot of reduction in the incidence of cavities. Because let me tell you something too. At age 6, 7, 8, right up to 11, if children are not properly supervised with brushing their teeth, the teeth are not cleaned, the teeth are not very calcified, they're not hard yet like the adult teeth. So the chances of poor care or not brushing properly and that tooth getting cavity is high. So you find that I had a child the other day, 9 years old. I had to extract the permanent tooth. It came up at 6. You know? So I'm just saying that if they're not supervised with the brushing, by the time they age 9, 10, you find yourself having to extract permanent teeth from children, and those teeth came up at age 6.
3
So
years,
if
within 3
we
years.
have that happening, then we would not have the high incidence of tooth decay that we have in young children. And you know, we'll be able to save teeth, you know. It just pains my heart.
Well, I know it must be very painful because 3 years after, 2.5, 3 years after you put out your permanent teeth, you have to remove it. It's gone forever.
Yes,
Yeah, you
yes,
don't have a chance. So maybe I mean, and we said government, but I did include, you know, maybe community groups can look at that as a project.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
seek some assistance, seek help, and maybe
agree.
we may find people out there who want to help fund in whatever way a project for a particular community, a particular village, and it starts small. You deal with that one, and the word goes out, and others may want to come forward. Because I think, honestly, that dental care or dental health, oral health, as you've put it, and the team says, is one that is kind of neglected. It's always on the back burner, so to speak.
Yes.
People
Yes.
only take cognizance of it when you have tooth decay and you start getting pain.
Crisis.
Yeah, but then by then it's too late.
It's too late.
So we don't do the preventative care, and we need to do more of that. We need to really, really, really take that serious. So again, I want to commend the NNP women. They are in action in truth, and that's an area that needs a lot of action. Dental care.
Brother Bola, I
yes.
just want to add something to the
Go ahead.
sentence you just finished, no, not one before that.
Yeah.
When you say it's too late. Too late meaning that we can't save it with a filling.
Right.
But depending on how the tooth is affected, it may cost you a lot.
Yes.
And you're looking at least almost $2,000 to save a tooth. Because if you wait to the point where the cavity gets to affect the pulp or the nerve of the tooth, then you're looking at root canal,
Yes.
you're looking at post, then you're looking at a crown. Whereas you could have used that money for so many other things, you know?
Yes.
And you can save the tooth either free in the government clinic, because we're doing fillings in the government clinic for free. Before we used to charge, but now it's free, and people still don't take advantage. I mean, let alone sometimes something breaks down or we run out of something, but generally you can find that service there.
Yeah, free, of course. Right. So, Sister Julie, I think you are prepared to take a couple of questions.
Oh,
So
sure.
I just want the listeners to know that there's one already coming in. Yes, well, let's take that. Good morning, caller. Hello? Have we lost it yet? Hello, good morning. I don't know. I'm not hearing anything.
Hello, I'm hearing you.
Yes, we're hearing them low.
Very low.
I'm hearing you. Maybe you have to up your volume.
Oh, maybe my volume
yeah.
need up, or you probably speak a little closer to the phone. I'm just
right
barely hearing you, but good morning anyway.
Oh, good morning to you, Doc. How are you today? And
we
good
have
morning to you.
Good
Yes.
morning.
Really,
Good
really
morning, listener.
Right.
Caller.
So a very, very, very important program. It is timely. But I want to agree with Brother Bola when he says it's too late. It is not too late, but it is late. We have a very, very serious problem as it relates to dental matters in this country. You see, it cost me sometime $100 to take out one tooth. One tooth, $100. So how much could I take out at a time? It's very costly. Now, if we are going to go to the dentist, on a regular basis, as we should, maybe every 6 months, the case may be, it costs us also. And so if the government have to do this, it also costs the government. I think where one of the problems is coming from, it is the wage structure on the employment sector. Because the wages cannot afford a lot of our health concerns. We have an eye problem in this country now where I think the society is going blind. So much people in the eye clinic every day. And what is the solution? Cataract, it takes a very long time. Even though it's diagnosed, it takes a very long time to get out. And so in the meantime, what happens? It grows. So we have to pay some attention to, one, the wage structure, as relates to people being able to go to the doctor on a timely basis to take care of the teeth and the mouth in general. Another factor is that the working hours. It takes you a very long time when you go to the clinic to get attendance, and in the meantime, you may have to go back home. And so all these things have to be taken into consideration. But number one is the wage structure that is creating a lot of the problem as leads to tooth and eyes in this country.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your comments. We do appreciate it. Sister Julie, you want to respond anything to that?
I just want to say that, yes, with the government services, there is sometimes crowding. A lot of the times you have crowding and you have long waits. But it goes right back to prevention.
Yes.
Prevention. We don't have to pull teeth. We just have to maintain and advise. Get them cleaned. God forbid you should have a cavity, get it filled. And that doesn't happen every Monday morning. So, excuse me, I just want to, excuse me. I just want to encourage, not just the caller, but everybody who is listening out there. Good night's sleep, proper exercise, good diet, and practice what you're taught by the health experts. If we say brush twice a day for 2 minutes each time, please do it, and then you can save yourself so much. Floss before you brush your teeth for 2 minutes. You can't go wrong.
Sister Julie, one of the things I didn't hear you mention, and I mean, I'd like to support you in your response to that caller. While we do agree that we all can do something, get something more on our wage. If I get a little thing now, I'll be glad. Whatever percentage, 0.5%, anything, upwards goes for me. But we can avoid having that expenditure. Because the caller was making the point that, to remove a tooth, we shouldn't get to the point where we had to remove. If we take very early precautions by doing good oral health, brushing, flossing, as you say. Something I haven't heard you mention, because you mentioned brushing and flossing several times, but the use of the liquid mouthwash. We know a lot, there are different brand names, but generally in Grenada, we say Listerine. Whether it is whatever, scope, whatever they call it, we say Listerine. How about those things? I mean, do they really have good effect for us? Is it something that you would recommend as a dentist, along with brushing, along with flossing? What level of help can they give if we do use them?
I encourage mouthwashes. I did not mention it here, but I even in my office, after the patient has a cleaning done and the final rinse, I usually do a mouthwash, give them a mouthwash. Mouthwash is a bonus. And I don't put a lot of, excuse me.
There's a water?
Yeah. I don't put a lot of emphasis on it. I encourage it, but I place the great emphasis on the flossing and the brushing because those are the main tools. Now, people with gum disease and so on, there are some mouthwashes that would really help them, right? And the dentist will tell them which ones to use. But it does not take the place off. It does not substitute for flossing and brushing. A lot of people like the fresh, minty flavor afterwards. It makes them feel, oh, the mouth is so clean. But I'll tell you something, there are some people who use that mouthwash and their mouth feels so clean, but they didn't do a good job with the floss and the brushing, So the mouthwash has its place. but it's no substitute for it's
Oh.
it's a bonus.
Okay.
That's how I like to refer to it. Yeah.
Well, it's a word from the expert, and we have to accept that. So it's not in place of.
No.
It's an addition to.
Yes.
So you still need to brush.
Oh,
You
yes.
still need to floss, and you can use a little mouthwash. It will just add to it. As you say, it will leave you with this fresh feel, you know, that you're taking care. But you cannot say, well, I'm gargling, I'm shaking, I'm using mouthwash, so there's no need for the brush or no need for the floss. Yes? So you heard it from the expert. It cannot take the place of.
No.
Fundamentally, you need to brush properly, at least 2 minutes or a little more if you can, but not less than, and get to the corners, do it properly, use the flossing, and make sure that if you can afford it, you want to do a little shaking or some mouthwash. That will work too, in addition to that.
Yeah.
So, Julie, I want to take you back a little bit now, a little bit, while and let the callers know, or the listeners know, sorry, that the lines are now open, 440-7377. If you want to get in a call, if you want to speak to Sister Julie Dubois, Dr. Dubois, she's here on behalf of the NNP Women in Action. It is their day, it is their program, and she's talking because it's Dental Health Week in Grenada here, and under this theme, applying good oral habits in the fight against COVID-19. So, yes, we have to deal with COVID-19 as a pandemic, but we also, at the same time or simultaneously, must apply good oral habits because it is necessary and it is going to aid us, as I say, if we can. I've seen a little blink. I don't know. I think we have a call maybe from the overseas line. Let's see if we can take that one. Okay. Hello, caller.
Hello,
Are you with
good
us?
morning. Is this Hard Talk?
Yes, good morning. It is Hard Talk. Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, and I'm calling.
And you are live.
What, me? I'm live? Okay,
Yes,
good
yes,
morning.
we're hearing you.
Good morning, Dr. Dubois.
Good morning, caller.
And I'm listening to the program, and I'm very impressed with the talk this week. And congratulations to all the team of the dentists as you celebrate Dental Week. I just want to say, what would you say to a question that I have is that there are many adults who are afraid of going to the dentist because of experiences they have had as children. What would you say to these people at this time?
Dentistry, thank you for the question. Dentistry has come a long way. There have been many techniques, and the equipment has been modified. It's not as noisy. A lot of it is not as noisy as before because the noise used to scare a lot of people. And I think it's a mental thing. So 2 things I would say. Gone are the days, I think, when, well, let me rephrase this. We have discovered that there's been a great reduction in the fare of the dentist's office in people, because a lot of people now do not threaten. We still have some, but a lot of them do not threaten the children, taking them to the dentist to have their teeth pulled if they're not good. And the older people who are scared of the dentist, it's a psychological thing that from the experiences they had before. My advice is that they should engage the dentist in some sort of conversation so that the procedure that they have to do can be explained to them, or whatever is bothering them can be, discussed, so that they can share their fears about what concerns them, and dialogue with the dentist to see if it can help to resolve that fear. Because I have discovered, and I'm sure my colleagues out there can testify, that a lot of times when people come and they have fears, by the time you're done with them, I in particular would ask them, I say, so what were you beating up yourself about? We're done. You're still here and you're okay. And they would just laugh. and they will tell you that, I didn't sleep last night. I was thinking about this visit. I was dreading coming here, and, all that stuff. But caller, I want to come back directly to you and say, when and I am going to class myself in that category too. We, as the older ones, have a phobia for the dental office. It was something that was instilled with us in us from childhood, and we should engage our dentists and express the fears, and it will make a huge difference in the way forward.
Thank you, Dr. Dubois.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you, caller, for your contribution. We do appreciate, and we want people to know the lines are open now. You can call, you can have a conversation with Sister Dubois, Dr. Dubois. Let her know if you have a concern with things. But it also goes back, Sister Dubois, to taking your oral care in your hands. If you do it and you start it as early as possible, and you continue doing it, it means less trip. It doesn't mean you don't have to, because sometimes even when you think your mouth, your gum, your teeth are in good health, you just need to go for verification and for advice from the dentist. But it would mean less visit if your oral health is taken. I wanted to just pick your brain a little bit and bring you back, Sister Julie. There's another question I want to ask you, but before I do, I want to ask you, what first of all piqued your interest in dentistry? Was it because for some of us we end up into a profession because it was chosen for us, or some others again did have a dream from a very long time? Some people, well, I'm here, I'm doing nothing, I'm getting an opportunity, why not try it? And then you pick up a love for it or so. How was it for you? What drove you into taking up that as a profession, as a career?
You really want to hear that?
Well, you don't have to tell us everything.
I will tell you.
If you think it is necessary for us to hear.
It was medicine, period.
Okay, it was medicine.
It could have been a nurse. It could have been the doctor.
Okay.
It could have been the dentist. It was medicine, period. Now, growing up, and I want to tell parents, when you hear your children, when you see they're doing little things, playing around, pay attention to how they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Because growing up, I used to be so fascinated when we go to mind you, I was scared of needles, period. But when you go to the health center, sometimes you go with your parents, little children, talking about 4, 5, 6 years old. And maybe, nobody's home, so they take you with them and they're going to have themselves checked out. But it used to fascinate me when the nurse is calling next, and they give you a little shot. And I would look at how sometimes you get a peek at what they're doing.
Yes.
So this is me now. I would go home. I'm the first of 4. I go up, I line up my brother and my sisters. And I will get my mother, get a little needle and go and steal her cotton wherever she has it and wet the cotton in a cup and pretend that I'm giving a shot to, and I'll, rub their arm, when they disinfect the arm before they give the shot. And I wouldn't stick them, but I'll pretend I'm giving them a shot. Then I'll rub the arm again when I'm done, and I'll call them next. And the next one will come.
Keeping your own clinic at home.
I was just fascinated with giving a needle.
Okay. Okay.
And as scared as I was of needles, I was just fascinated with how they would do it. And then my mother, when the scholarships were being offered in the revolution, she said, well, why don't you try dentistry? I remember how I was fascinated with needles. And actually, I wanted to do music. Music was my first choice, and they weren't offering music scholarships. So I went into dentistry. And Brother Bola, I'm telling you something. I'm not boasting, but I have a very good hand with that needle.
With the needle.
I'm telling you.
Great.
And that's why I'm saying this to say that parents, when you see your children doing certain little activities that could lead to some profession, pay attention.
Take note.
Yeah, because with the music thing, I mean, if I may just quickly tell you, when in the days they were pumping the pedal with the foot, the bellow organs.
Yes.
And you mightn't even know that.
Well, I've seen them wrong.
Yes, but that's when I went to church, that's why they were pumping the foot so that the organ will give you the sound.
Yes.
So I had a little folding chair, and I would take my sister's folding chair and put it in front and put a book there, like a hymn book I couldn't read. little. And then there were two little foot bars you could put your foot on the little chair, and I would pretend that those were the bellows, and I would be pumping away and using the hand bars on the chair as the keyboard, and I would be pumping. And my dad was in England, and my mom told him when he was coming, he should bring a piano home, and rest is history. I started playing music in church when I was 10 years old, and still going at it. So I'm just saying that, parents again out there, pay attention, because your child could be just displaying what the future career would be. Good. All right, back to teeth.
Well, we can see now where you get your singing career started, your musical career, your dental career, all started from since you were a little girl, tiny little girl, growing up. You had a fascination for those things. So I think it's a good way to segue into that. No. Your years of practice, do you think that, yearly we get a lot of scholarship, and I hear a lot of people going into medicine, whether it is going to Cuba, going to China, St. George's School of Medicine. In terms of the dental side, are you satisfied as a dentist yourself that there is a sufficiency of interest by our new group of people, our younger people now, who are getting those opportunities into dentistry?
Yes, there is, but I'll tell you something, the scholarships are not coming as they used to.
Okay.
Dentistry is very, 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 Mr. Bola, I can't say how many varies, but it's so expensive. People can't afford to send their children to dental schools. I mean, the majority. There are people who are interested in dentistry. Just recently, I was talking to somebody, and the person was saying, my child is interested in dentistry, but we can't seem to find a scholarship anyway. Do you know of any in Cuba? And I was trying to tell the person that, Cuba has not been really, because they can't afford it too.
Okay.
In the past, God knows how many years, maybe 10 or so years, or it could be more. We only have one person now doing dentistry. So it's expensive, and I think the individual was telling me that there may be scholarships in China. So I said, watch, let me tell you something. Wherever you find the opportunity, grab it. Because when we were going to Cuba, how much cry our parents were crying, because who heard of Cuba in 1979? Who knew of Cuba? Cuba was a place where it was slavery and cutting cane, and they told our parents, propaganda, told our parents, we go in and cut cane, we're not going to study, and parents crying and all kind of thing. Because nobody had gone before to come back and say, we went and this is what. Yeah. We were I was in the first batch in 79.
Okay.
So we were just going. And I was telling the person wherever the scholarship is, because now we have graduates from Morocco.
Yes.
So I want to encourage anybody who is out there and want to go and study dentistry. If you have the passion for it, you have to have passion, and you have to have patience in dentistry. If you don't have patience, don't go there. And look out for the scholarships. Check the scholarship desk. Go online, whatever it takes. But it's a very rewarding profession. And Brother Bola, I usually tell the young ones that come, I said, I am on my way out. The knowledge that I have accumulated in the last 35 years, if I go with it, it's of no use. So I want to disseminate and share as much as I can with anybody. Yep. So back to you with the scholarships and stuff like that. Grenada needs more dentists. Actually, I'll tell you something. We don't only need dentists, we need dental auxiliaries. The auxiliaries are the ones who treat children. Supervised by the dentist, of course, but their children. So if we have those, and we set up little clinics in the schools, and the children will be better taken care of. And you notice I'm talking about children now.
I know.
Because we want to get them in the habit of visiting the dentist, taking care of their teeth. If they develop that, like I said before, and I want to repeat it, because repetition makes people remember. If they change that mindset, and if they start doing that, they pass it on to their children and their grandchildren, and we find that the whole cycle will change.
Very good. Very good. having mentioned that, we need more, and you said the auxiliary staff, those who would give you the assistance, the support staff, you need more people into that. What about dental surgeons now? General dentistry, do we take into account the surgeons, those who will do the operations and so, or is that a specific area of study that one has to get into?
There is a special dentistry, just like medicine, has specialties.
Yes.
You have the pedodontist, which treat the children. You have the periodontist, which do the gum surgery. You have the endodontist, which do the braces, and it goes on and on and on and on. Then you have the maxillofacial surgeons, and those are the ones that specialize in oral surgery, right? Broken jaw, impacted wisdom teeth, and not just oral, it's maxillofacial, which means that, God forbid, you get into an accident, you broke your nose, or you broke a face bone, or your ear is hanging loose, or, that kind of thing. Tumors in the mouth, tumors in the sinuses, excuse me, those are treated by the maxillofacial surgeons. It is a specialty in dentistry as well.
Okay. Do we have any of such here?
Yes, there is one. We have a Cuban here.
Okay.
Right? We do have Grenadians who have done it, but they're not here in Grenada.
Okay.
But we do have a surgeon here. And just to tell you that when we do the dental program, it's like Julie Dubois, DDS at the back. So it's a doctor of dental surgery. So generally you refer to us as dental surgeons, right? We're dentists or dental surgeons. And we are trained to do minor surgeries, right? So there are things that we can do, the frenulum under the tongue, what they call what's the name? They have a name for it, Fillet.
Fillet, yes, you can't speak proper.
Yes. So we can do those. We can do small mouth tumors. We can do episectomies, which is cutting off the tip of a root of a tooth that has a
we are getting another call, Sister Julie.
Yes, go ahead. Sure.
You, but let's take that one. Hello, caller. Good morning. Welcome to have you.
Yes,
hello?
Good morning. Is this Old Talk? Hello, good morning.
Yes.
Yes, is this Old Talk Grenada?
Hard Talk Grenada, sir.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm subject to correction. Yes, my name is Glenroy St. Louis, and I'm calling from Florida, USA. I just want to make a comment with regards to the lack of dentists.
For some reason, we're hearing a bit low. I don't know if it's how far you have your device from you or so, or maybe you lift your voice a little bit.
Okay. Are you hearing me now?
A little better, yes. So just project your voice. Yes.
Yes, what I'm saying, my name is Glenroy St. Louis. I'm calling from Florida in the USA. I just want to make a comment on the dental conversation, as we're hearing that there is a lack of dentists or lack of those in the dental area. And I believe, I'm hoping that maybe the government or maybe some affordable bodies in Grenada can help in that area, because I know there are many persons who want to go into that field, but financially it might be a problem. And if something is not done now, later on, it's going to cost the government of Grenada much more when we'll have to send overseas for dentists or those in the dental field. So my prayer is something can be done. If someone can help to find scholarship overseas, but something should be done. And I wish the best to our future leaders in Grenada. That means our young people. And thank you so very much for taking my call.
You're welcome, sir. And all the time you have an opportunity. We are on every day for the week from 10 to 12. Thank you for your comment.
Yes.
And I'll allow Dr. Dubois to make a comment if she so desire on what you have said. I hope you heard clearly,
yes,
Dr. Dubois.
I want to echo Brother Bola. Thank you, caller, for your observation. Actually, I was referring to the continuation of having dentists graduate. But I must say, Colin, maybe you're not aware that in the last two and a half years or so, we've had 5 new dentists coming to Grenada.
Great.
Yes.
All Grenadians?
All Grenadians.
Okay.
All Grenadians. Well, one Trinidadian, but living here.
Okay.
Yes. But all working for government. And which we would have needed because many of us have reached retirement age. And I think the government did well by investing in them for scholarships. Trinidad, Jamaica, Morocco. Those are the 3 places.
Okay.
And we have one that I know is in Cuba right now. So in the next maybe 3-4 years, we'll have that person returning. When we talk of needs of staffing for dentistry, I specifically mentioned the dental auxiliaries, which take care specifically of the children. Now, we as dentists, we can handle the children. But it would be good when we have those that take care directly of the children so that the other dentists can do, attend to the adults and other dental programs. But I must say that we've done well in the last 2 years in getting those dentists because we were retiring. We were concerned from government service. We were concerned about filling the space.
Right.
But we have that going on.
Right. Yes. Okay, great. Because I think what you made mention of, as you have surely clarified, is more the auxiliary staff, the people who give assistance. You need more of that. You need to see more people getting into that. And
the ministry is aware.
The ministry is aware.
Yes.
So I presume, as the caller was advocating that whoever is the authoritative body will do more in trying to get more scholarships, more assistance. Yes, and so we are happy for that comment and to let others know that the lines are still open. We still have a couple of minutes that you can ask a question or make a comment or even a suggestion that you may have, something you may know, something you've heard about that you want to contribute to the program. NNP Women in Action, they do this program bi-weekly, once every 2 weeks. Or bi-monthly. Yeah, well, my bad. And they come in and speak on different subject matter. Last time you had someone talking business and how people can get involved. So very good. I commend the NNP women. They are really actionable and doing things.
Brother Bola, just let me add that. For the dental auxiliaries, presently on island we have 2, but we had 4. One has gone to study dentistry, and the other one has gone somewhere else to study something more. So, yeah.
So one has decided to cement themselves into dentistry.
Deeper
into dentistry, and that's good. So you can start at that level. You can gain some experience working along with a qualified dentist, and then you can go on to, if you so desire, to become a full-time or whatever. And that's wonderful. But it also is saying to younger people out there, because sometimes we hear a lot of talk about young people are frustrated, there's nothing for them, and most times you hear that and you ask people, well, what are they frustrated about? And they tell you they want to work. I just want to work. But are we equipped, those of us who say we want to work? In what field do we want to work? Where is our expertise? In what area? And some of us don't have much. We've been to secondary school. We probably go as far as CC, and we think that is sufficient to qualify us to get any job that we want. But here you are saying, look, there are still some opportunities in dentistry, especially as an auxiliary staff. So maybe, as you say, a scholarship may not be forthcoming. Our parents do not have all of that cash to send us to dentistry school full-time, 5-6 years, whatever it takes to be qualified. But maybe a year and a half, 2 years, doing something along the line where we get the basics, where we get the rudiments of the field, and then we take up a job, less paying, I imagine, but which would give us experience over another 2 years, 3 years, as the case may be, because we're still young, and coming from that, we can jump straight
until
into
a
going back
breakthrough
into-
comes, yeah?
Yes, when a breakthrough comes. So we have to look at where the opportunities are and where they are available and utilize them. It doesn't mean because Tom came from secondary school or from TAMCC and immediately landed himself a job in the bank and he continued to do online studies and what have you, and then he become a supervisor 3-4 years down the road, that is going to happen exactly the same way for us. We need to look at where the opportunities are and place ourselves, prepare. I remember as a young man going to school, they said, if you fail to prepare, be prepared to fail. You know, so we always have to be preparing for what is coming before, so what is going to be available. Be well-rounded. As you have said, Sister Julie, from your own experience, your first choice was music. That was your love. But that wasn't forthcoming. You went into your second choice. Having a contingency plan. Plan 1, and we've said it on this program many times, plan 1, plan 2, 3, and probably up to plan 4. Because sometimes both 1 and 2 never work out. And you may have to go on to plan 3 or plan 4. But opportunities will come, especially in the dental field. And we are urging people to take to mind, apply good oral habits in the fight against COVID-19. And even if and when we deal with that, with COVID-19, we still need to continue to apply good oral habits, because it is important that we take care. We have heard Sister Julie speak about the many added effects. So when we do not take good oral care, it doesn't stop at just having a cavity, having a decayed tooth, having a problem with our gum, having pain in the mouth. It doesn't stop there. The fact that we've developed that, it can carry on into more things, into greater things, into other diseases. I'm seeing a blink in there again. Jay, maybe we have another caller online. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Dr.
Hello?
Dubois. Good morning.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
Yeah, Dr. Dubois. You know, there's a saying that unfair prevention is better than a full cure.
Yes, sir.
To prevent may cost about $200 or $300.
Yes.
But to cure, maybe they're not a maximum. It could be 3,000, 5,000.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I want to say to people, when you prevent, it is much less costly. But to cure, you can't put a figure to a cure. To a cure. I want to say, in personal hygiene is important. I want to say to people, just as important that you do eat food every day, it is also important that you should bathe every day, brush your mouth every day. Morning, you get up, eat nighttime before you go to sleep. That is two more dangerous time. Important time to brush your mouth. Like many people they at work. So when they eat the meat, they stick something and shake out the food from the mouth. But never forget to brush your mouth morning time when you get up and nighttime before you go to sleep. Because nighttime is very dangerous. When you get up, sometimes you feel a lot of brightness and you might feel funny. All right? Because I guess how some people could be comfortable, know that they're brushing their mouth, right? And they want to go with the people. And I would say to people, the worst thing when you have friends and go around people and tell, they try to shun you. Until, well, some people wouldn't tell them, but they'll say, your mouth is smelling good. That is an embarrassment to the person. So I want to say to people, just as how you want to eat food every day, you should make it a personal interest in your life. And I say, it doesn't matter, people they don't know, they know. But some people find they're busy, they're bad, but they have time to brush them out. But it's just how you have time to bathe, this is you have time to brush them out. And one of the things that they're saying, like, if you bathe and you put them back in the same clothes, like you don't bathe at all. When you bathe and you're fresh, you should put on clean clothes. Clean clothes. You know, some people they bathe and put them back in the same clothes that when I'm doing it. So they come back like the clothes that they had on them and they put it back on. It may have some perspiration on it. So then that would make it come like they don't bathe at all. And they say that if you take clean wine and put it in a dirty wine bottle, you know, the wine goes, it won't smell clean, it smells dirty. So just as if you take clean clothes, dirty clothes and put back on a clean body, Just like you smelling the same old clothes that you have on you. So I want to say to the greater people and people in general, let us take care of your health because health is important. I want to take care of your health, right? Health is important. I want to take care of health and proper hygiene. Right? You could go around people and you will be proud and happy to be about that because the worst thing to say, the worst thing for people to tell you, you're not smelling good.
We get that call. Thank you.
You all have a wonderful day. God bless you.
Well spoken, well said. Brother Bola,
My dear.
the prevention,
Yes.
even not just for dentistry, the community health department in the Ministry of Health, that's what they specialize in. We have community health nurses, and it's all about prevention. But unfortunately, some of us, we don't comply. We listen, but we don't hear. Or we hear, but we don't listen. The caller led me to another point that I wanted to make. And that is two things I wanted to say. Among the studies that were done for how gum disease affects systemic diseases, and a systemic meaning diseases of the body. The gum disease, it can cause or promote inflammation in distant organs of the body. Like we're talking about, the mouth is above, but down inside your body, And this inflammation in those organs, they can lead to the development. Maybe it's a genetic thing in the family, but it can lead to the development of systemic diseases like Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, heart disease, disease of the blood vessels in the brain, and so on. That's number one. Number two is that with COVID, we're sanitizing our hands every minute because the virus can be spread so easily, and we can touch our faces and so on and so forth. We have to also practice sanitizing of our toothbrushes, excuse me, because we cannot, if we have bacteria in our mouths and we use a toothbrush to brush, and we don't clean that toothbrush properly, and what I'm saying here might seem to be so basic and so ordinary, but it is important. Because if we don't clean those toothbrushes, the bacteria lives there, The bacteria don't die that easy. So we go back and we use the toothbrush again. The bacteria is still there.
Yeah.
Bacteria spreading.
So we reintroduce it to our system.
Exactly.
But doctor, when you say clean our toothbrushes, I want you to dive in a little more. I mean, most people, I believe, when finish using a toothbrush, when it's brushing our mouth, our teeth, our tongue, which is also important, and the roof of our mouth, they go on top there. Sometimes we forget that we need to pass the brush there as well. But you generally wash it out. Are you saying now that we need to do more than just wash it out with running water?
Well, you have to wash it out properly.
Yes.
If you have a tap head, then you put your finger to create a little high jet.
Yes. Yes.
High pressure little jet coming through. Okay. And you run that toothbrush under that little jet of water to make sure that you don't have any traces of food on the bristles and you don't have any traces of toothpaste on the bristles.
Okay.
You don't want to encourage anything there to multiply bacteria. Okay. So I just wanted to say that.
Very important. Very important. Because sometimes we just pass the toothbrush under the running water.
Yes.
And we don't really...
We don't clean it properly.
Normally, I would take my fingers and run on the bristles. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
It is.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, you should examine your toothbrush to make sure that you don't have any particles on it.
how often, Doc, would you say one should change the toothbrush? Because that's also another thing, yeah? Because sometimes some people not understanding that unless you have, well, foam to a certain extent, you don't want it to be too abrasive to put damage on the gum and so, but the bristles should be firm and be able to remove the plaque or other things. But how often would you suggest, and I mean, I know there are varying types and different maids, and so there's a whole lot of dynamics
Different brands, yeah.
brand, yes, and so. But if you had to advise the general public, what would you say is a reasonable time span to keep a brush, bearing in mind that you need to do it at least twice daily?
Brother Bola, you know something? I have since long refrained from using time,
Yes.
and I use the condition of the toothbrush.
Yeah,
You
okay.
understand? No, some people say change your toothbrush every month, you know.
Yes,
But then not all of us have the same power in our hands.
right.
And not all of us, you know, when we're brushing our teeth, we use different, our
Methods,
arms
yeah.
have different strength.
Yes.
And then, of course, the toothbrush bristles are made of different materials.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually say, whenever the toothbrush bristles are no longer straight,
Mm-hmm.
you throw it out, and you get a new toothbrush. When the bristles start curving, you know,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
because you need the straightness of the
Right.
bristles to go against the side, to angle
Mm-hmm.
on the side of the teeth and gums to do a proper cleaning in those areas. So when the bristles are curving, no longer can we.
That's when it's the right time to change.
Yeah.
So we need to be looking and being very observant of the brushes. Not necessarily time has been advised by the expert with us, but the condition of the brush.
Yes.
Because it makes no sense if you have a brush where all the bristles are curved and lying down, it's no longer effective. It's not doing the job that it has to do. It's like using a paintbrush that no longer has
Exactly.
bristles. Yes, good, very good. So I these are all very good information, and I really hope that the public is going to take that they are going to take those things on board, because sometimes we hear the cry, well, nobody tells us anything. We don't know better. We and when the opportunity avails itself, and people like yourself, who I know are extremely busy, because outside of doing your own practice, there's a lot of community work that you do. There's a lot of other things that you're involved in, but you take the time, as you're doing today, at your own cost, and people must know that, because sometimes you hear the rumors going around, well, she going to say that because she's paid to do it. But I can tell them categorically that you are not paid to be here, to be sharing those good information. So let's take them and put them into practice. Remembering the theme, good oral habits in the fight against COVID-19. And when COVID-19 is over, which I hope might be soon, I don't know how soon, we will continue to use that theme to say good oral habits in the fight for good health. Yes, when we can remove COVID-19, because it is important that we continue to have good health, especially oral health, and that we should very early encourage our children to do it. There has been in my mind, and I don't know, Sister Julie, some little controversies, I would call it, if I can put that word, about the use of fluoride, which we have in toothpaste, and then there are some liquid fluorides, and so if it is within your purview, can you tell us that there are those who say yes, it is a good thing to use for to help protect and prevent gum disease and what have you, and there are others who advance the argument that it does more damage over time to the health of the teeth and the mouth. If you have any information or can give further explanation, you don't have to say if you don't know or you don't feel obliged to, then you don't. But I have come across literature that speaks to those, so I'm just asking you if you so desire.
Yes. Fluoride has been a much discussed and deliberated topic over the years. But as in everything else, anything that is overdone can have its consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Fluoride is very useful for the teeth, especially the young teeth.
The young teeth.
Children,
Sister
yes.
Julie, just hold your thought.
Yes,
There is
go
a
ahead.
caller trying to come in there. If we can take that one,
Sure.
and maybe our last call because we are winding down on time. Hello, caller. Good morning. Morning, brother. Sister Jacob. We are well. We're talking with the dentist today.
Wonderful sister.
Good morning, Miss
I'm
Jacob.
forgetting him now.
Yes, you
Dr.
get your name now?
Dubois.
Yes, Sister
My
Julie
dear
Dubois.
Sister Dubois.
Yes.
Yeah, Miss Jacob.
Yeah, doing a wonderful work, Sister Dubois.
Thank
And
you.
all what you saying there, what I just scrub my teeth with, you see the soda?
Yes, baking soda.
I scrub my teeth with that, and you see the brown glycerin?
Uh-huh.
That is
Original.
very, very, very good. And the toothbrush, the Colgate, no, those with the soda.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I have 73 years of age,
Good for you.
and only 4 teeth are missing in my mouth.
Wow, congrats.
If my brother come now,
Me, I don't want you to bite me now, Miss Jacob. I ain't coming no way. You have all your good strong teeth and everything in your mouth. I keeping my distance. I'm talking to you on the phone.
yeah, man, I like Sister Duba. I like it.
Thank
but
you.
I come inside later. Say, no, man, I must call me Sister Duba.
Yes.
Well, Miss Jacob, thank you for calling, and thank you for the encouragement.
Have a wonderful and a blessed day. Enjoy your weekend.
Yes, you too.
Okay, sister.
And-
God
and,
bless you and brother.
Take care.
Thank you. Have a good day.
We appreciate you all the time.
You see, when people like Miss Jacob taking care of them out that way,
Yep.
at 73.
73.
And imagine she's brushing and, doing all that. All she has to do it,
She still has 28 of them, She said she has only 4.
yes,
She's doing better than young people like me.
Me too.
So it's so good to hear. Care, constant care. So you were making the point, Sister Julie, before we
The
got the call. And
fluoride.
I think that might be our last one because we just have a couple of minutes from here before we had a break for the...
We have a caller?
No. Miss Jacob might have been our last one. So those who are trying to call, we may not take more calls because I want to give Sister Julia a little time so she can wind up and round up and, So you can continue on your train of thought and then you're going to...
the fluoride, the fluoride treatment. But if, Brother Bola, I don't know, but if a call is coming, I can always speed up and take the call,
Okay.
Because, with people, I like to hear what they
have to say, yeah. But none is coming in at the
All
moment.
right. So, fluoride, if it's good for the teeth. It hardens the enamel, especially of the children, and which would also help to prevent cavity. However, we have to be careful with the little ones that we don't give them too much of the fluoridated toothpaste on the toothbrushes. Those who don't understand yet how to spit out and rinse out.
Okay.
So I usually tell the parents, just a little smear. Like if you're going to put lotion on your skin, or you just smear the little lotion, that's the amount of toothpaste you put on the toothbrush bristles for the little ones who are not yet able to spit out and rinse out. Fluoride rinses we encourage because it bonds onto the teeth. It's not swallowed. The fluoridated water has since been an area of controversy among nations, some countries, where the results, if they put too much fluoride in the water, it discolors the teeth and causes other systemic problems. So but fluoride on its own, when properly used and applied, it's great advantage to the strengthening of the enamel of the teeth.
Good. Sure. That's important because for those of us who don't understand, sometimes we get a little bit confused because as you would know, being in that field, medical field in general, sometimes when people write pieces, they take a certain slant to it without giving all of the explanation. So you hear about the dangers of fluoride, and then you read another piece that talks about how good it is. So is it good, is it bad? But I think you have given us the right explanation. When used properly in the right dosage, it is extremely good.
Yes.
If we overuse it, like they say, too much of one thing is good for nothing. Like anything else, they say a little red wine is good for the heart, but if you overdo it, it's going to create another problem for you. So yes, it is good based on what Sister Julie is telling us.
And the same holds true for amalgam fillings, which is the silver fillings that get dark over time.
Right.
You know, the mercury in there, it's so insignificant, you know, and that's what was being used over the years. But still, there are very many inconclusive articles regarding mercury, and sometimes people go on the internet and they see certain things and they come flying to your office and say, I want all the silver fillings out of my mouth.
Great. So, listeners, we've come to that time when we have to wrap things up. It is really good having our sister with us today. I mean, I've learned quite a few things. I have had some questions in my mind, and I hope you too have learned. So I want to give Sister Julie now the opportunity in the next minute and a half, if she needs all of that time, to give us some final and some closing remark to reinforce whatever it is she wants to leave with you as we go to the close.
All right. Thank you, Brother Bola. It was indeed a pleasure being here. And I hope that I would have motivated some people to or propelled you to take better care of your mouths and to pay more attention, especially those with children, to take them for their checkups. In this season of COVID, the theme was applying good oral habits in the fight against COVID, and you would have heard that if poor oral health, gum disease, and so on can weaken your immune system, and if you have a weakened immune system, it's harder to fight off COVID. So I hope that you're thinking about all this, especially those of you who have diabetes, hypertension, asthma, and all these Alzheimer's. If even you don't have the disease, but you have it in your families, please take pay special attention to how you take care of your teeth, and make sure that you get proper sleep and you eat well, and then you try and do a little exercise. All these will help to strengthen your immune system and to help you in the fight of COVID. And don't forget, we sanitize our hands. Don't forget sanitizing the tools you use on your teeth, your toothbrush especially. And Brother Bola, for you, for me, for everybody out there, I just want to leave you with this, that maintaining a good oral health routine should be a part of our stay healthy strategy during COVID-19.
Thank you.
Make sure that it's part of our stay healthy, not just the sanitizing and the mask and the stuff, but we have to also maintain oral hygiene. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And Brother Bola, again, it was indeed a pleasure.
Well, on behalf of the Hard Talk family, Sister Julie, we really want to thank you. We think that we have done something very progressive today, as we normally attempt to do here on Hard Talk, to bring good, relevant information that can help people to become better citizens, to take better care of themselves and, of course, of the offspring. So, friends, we have come to the end of today's program. We apologize for the couple of days when we were off air for various technical and other reasons, but we're very hopeful. Tomorrow, God's willing, we should be coming to you live again from 10 o'clock. There's carded, a press conference is carded by the party, the New National Party, starting at 10 tomorrow, which we will broadcast live here on Hard Talk. And as we say every day, in whatever you say, whatever you do, we want you to be safe and to be secured. We thank you all for joining us, for those who have contributed with the call, with the comments, or whatever you did. We were very grateful for it and hopeful you will join us tomorrow. Stay safe, stay secure. We want to be talking to you and not about you. Thank you. Stay tuned for the GIS and the National Report.
Government to invest in public service transformation in the coming months. We'll have the details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Friday, October 23rd, 2020, I'm Delroy Lozan. Government will embark on a public service review in the coming months as part of its transformation agenda. Grant funding was secured from the European Development Fund to conduct 2 functional reviews of the public service. Permanent Secretary with responsibility for public administration, Rhonda Jones, emphasized the urgent need for the public service to be effective, efficient, and purpose-driven. Policy and planning are among the first functional reviews to be initiated.
Human resource management and policy and planning are the first core whole of government functions to be reviewed. Over the next 2 months, a cross-ministerial technical working group will be engaging you in the process of investigating how well these functions have been working for us. We will examine how these functions are set up, the key business processes, roles, responsibilities, and general performance. We must identify the areas for improvement so that we can update our operating model to enable these functions to successfully support the delivery of services across government. Let me hasten to add that leveraging digital technology in this exercise is also critical. In fact, the public service, now and in the future, will be characterized by mass technological infusions.
Government has contracted consultants from Ernst & Young consulting firm to kickstart efforts towards its digital transformation agenda within the service. According to P.S. Jones, although a review was previously in the pipeline, things will be done differently.
This time around, we are seeking a more customized solution that reflects both individual and organizational capacity requirements to support high performance. In the immediate future, you can expect frequent communication on the activities as well as requests for your assistance in the successful completion of the reviews. We anticipate your full cooperation in this exercise as we move forward together in building a resilient service and a resilient nation for us all.
The Maurice Bishop International Airport, MBIA, is back at Aircraft Rescue and Firefighting Services Category 9. This is following the shipment of support aggregates and chemicals on Thursday. 100 buckets of dry chemicals, comprising 275 gallons each, is now on site at the airport. The Grenada Airports Authority reiterates its commitment to aviation safety and security and will continue to work in compliance with industry standards at all times. This is the National Report. More news in just a moment.
The house was shaking. Then suddenly saw we hear bang, crack, and the roof had gone.
Man, I was so scared, I nearly wet myself.
Only those who have lived it can truly understand the devastating fury of a hurricane's wind.
The house across the road just get up and roll over.
Hurricane force wind. It's a hazard. Hazards. Take control. Reduce your loss. You can hurricane-proof your home. For example, make your roof more wind-resistant by using screws instead of nails in its construction. Find out more about hurricane force winds and other hazards at your local disaster office.
A message from the National Disaster Management Agency and SEDERA.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Health records a spike in dengue cases on island. This week, the ministry says 46 new cases have been confirmed throughout the island, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 253 for 2020. Last week, 37 cases were confirmed. Communications Officer in the Ministry of Health, Kevin Frederick, said the ministry has decided to boost its efforts to control the spread of dengue. He said the virus is prevalent among school-aged children.
We are seeing a steady increase, and which is why we have begun ramping up public awareness. We have already begun ramping up activities for public education. In that, we have produced a number of educational videos, short videos, that is covering the main points, like, for example, how to identify breeding sources, what are some of the most prevalent breeding places of mosquitoes. The ministry has decided to engage the Ministry of Education, and we already had a meeting to that effect. The reason for doing the Ministry of Education route is because we have seen a number of persons being affected with dengue, and that is among school age. So we thought it was best to intervene at that level, not forgetting the elderly folks in our society, but the prevalence, if I may say so. For example, this week we have about 16 confirmed cases of dengue among school-age children. I'm talking about from 1 to 4, and just about the same amount at still school-age children 5 to 14.
The Vector Control Unit has been on the path to increase fogging in communities where the ministry has observed an upsurge in cases. Senior Environmental Health Officer with responsibility for vector control, Kenny James, told GIS that fogging is one of the many control options available to reduce the spread. He said, however, the communities must play their part in preventing the further spread of dengue.
It's an emergency method. It's not a method that will continuously prevent the mosquitoes from spreading the disease. Because the thing is that we need to get rid of the habitat. Because as long as you have a mosquito being hatched or being emerging into adults, you'll always have a mosquito problem. And continuous fogging can also affect other other life, biological life in the environment. So it's not really the real solution to the problem. What is the real solution is to ensure that we do not have breeding sites around, destroying the habitats of the mosquitoes.
The problem of the health ministry, period, that is the fundamental problem. You noted that in recent announcement that I've divided the ministry. That there was a fundamental reason for this. It was clear that what was happening at the health centers, community centers around the country, not just in Montmorris, right through the country, and of course at the hospital services, left a lot to be desired. I was getting complaint upon complaint upon complaint. And the fundamental thing is that people, when they come to you, is about, we need more doctors, we need more nurses. My clear understanding of this thing was, we have a serious management problem at the hospital. The issue is management. And all of us know you could pump any amount of money in a system. You could add any amount of personnel. That may be an issue. But that by itself will not solve the problem if the management system is weak. And I mean, I get complaints about things that go wrong in the hospital. It's quite frightening to me as Prime Minister.
Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell addressing residents of Mount Morris at an area meeting organized by the Ministry of Health on Wednesday. The meeting was held to consult with residents on the way forward for the Mount Morris Medical Station, which was recently closed temporarily. For years, the medical station has been experiencing challenges with its infrastructure and also the use of the services, which prompted many residents to seek medical attention at the Happy Hill facility. Community Health Services Minister Honorable Delma Thomas gave residents the assurance that priority will be given to finding a solution to the problems faced within the health sector in that area.
We want to be consulting with the people in going forward. So whatever we do as it relates to health, we want to be able to consult with you so that you will be part of the decision-making process. Whatever happens at the end is because what you say is best for you, the people of Montmorris. So we'll be working along with you because as a government, we want to give more priority to health. We know the importance of health. And therefore, in going forward, we'll be ensuring that health is given the priority that it is needed to help our people in terms of illnesses and all that.
Acting Permanent Secretary Hannah St. Paul says attention will be given to address the staffing challenges at the various health facilities. She explained that there will be times, as is the case now, that one nurse or doctor will have to work at more than one facility.
Because of that, we have to be able to ensure that everyone is served, right? And we are not leaving out Montmorris. This is why we're here today, to hear from you. And going forward, it may be a challenge for us to be available or have the permanent nurse every day stationed at the facility. But I'm happy that you're willing to share, because this is something we're going to go back and look at and see how we can share this nurse on much more given days. The district doctor service as well, we knew that you used to have it before every Friday, but we would have had to make some adjustments to 2 Fridays. But we again are going to go back and look at it and see if maybe we can add another day.
The residents were clear in their requests that the medical station should remain in Montmorris under better management and with more services. That story concludes the National Report for Friday, 23rd October 2020. But before we leave, we recap the headline. Government to invest in public service transformation in the coming months. That's all from us here at the newsroom. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Delroy Luzon. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.